Welcome, beautiful people, to season 3, episode 9 of Jahmi Roc's Jottings, this seriously silly space for intentional musicology, sonic joy, and the kind of reggae and broader musical insight that will keep your mind rocking and your thoughts swaying. I'm your host, Jahmi Roc, also known as Racquel Bernard, and today I'm joined by my co-hosts, Nikkita, Nuclear Blackness, and DJ Papalotl. We are deep diving into Speed's viral visit to Jamaica. IShowSpeed's 6 hour visit, her viral stream, IRL stream in Jamaica. I would be honest, I did not watch all 6 hours, but I tried. I tried, okay? And that is what matters, okay? Big up to Nuclear Blackness who watched it all. I'm so impressed. Nuclear Blackness is gonna be in the chat for a little bit. Um, good evening to you, DJ Papalos. How you feeling?
Well, I have to admit, it's always an experience when you are in the front of the camera and behind the camera. So it's a one person team over here when it comes to tech and everything. So, and I still don't know where that feedback is coming from. But thank you everyone for your patience, especially you, Jahmi Roc.
Of course.
And I heard you had a nice, great recording session. Dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun.
yeah. Rhythm Saturday was cool over there at the Dizzle Lab. Last Rhythm Saturday before it moves to before Dizzle moves the studio to the new location. So it was really nice to have just hold a vibration with the artists and viewers that were able to come through. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We had a nice vibration. We made some cool music. So I'm looking forward to when he puts it together and shares it with us so that we can listen back to what we did.
Well, I hope that there's another one coming up soon because I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure there will be another once the suit is at the new location. So it's gonna be nice.
In North Hollywood, or was this
Yeah, it's gonna
still
be
up on
North
that side of
Hollywood.
town?
Yeah, North Hollywood. Hmm. He'll have, I feel like he'll have flexibility too. So who knows? Maybe one day he can put it a little closer to Long Beach County.
I mean, it's just more of coordinating little for me, honestly, for me, it's about knowing ahead of time, like and schedule it in my life because I have so much activity and
Mhm.
LA is huge.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So you know how it is. The traffic. It was like, wow, is it really going to take over an hour right now?
Hmm.
And I was trying. I was trying.
I appreciate that you tried. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
All good.
I'm trying to get rid of this damn feedback. I have no idea where it's coming from.
I can't hear it anymore.
Okay, so it's just hmm, 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 hmm. Okay.
So let's kick it off, why don't we? Um, First of all, I did not know this man. Okay. This is me hearing about Speed. This is my first time hearing about Speed. But apparently the man is like a household name when it comes to YouTube streamers and you know, is an online streamer and influencer known for his NBA 2K tutorials and gameplay videos on YouTube. Um, and his whole career took off during the pandemic when he started streaming consistently. Um, and he made over a made history by reaching over 1 million concurrent viewers in a single live stream in Indonesia. Um, and his goal is to live stream in every country to connect people and to connect with people and try their food. So he's been on a Caribbean tour and ended the tour in Jamaica. And I just found that, great. Like it was really interesting. Like I really want to see his other IRL streams now because Jamaica was so hype and lit. And it was like he would go places, people would be chanting his name, speed, speed, I show speed, I show speed. And I was like, well, is it just Jamaica that's hyped like this to see him? Is it a special level of welcome that they are going on with? Like, or what? I was just curious. I don't, and like I said, this is my introduction to speed. So, I thought it was quite interesting. And I don't know, Nikkita, if you have an idea of um other streams because you seem more aware of him than me. Um, but or you DJ Papalotl, if you knew okay, so Nuclear Blackness says he did a tour in Africa. All right, cool. Sounds good. Yeah. What about you? I imagine that Ghana was one of the countries. I see, Nikkita, that you said you forgot which countries, but I know he has Ghanaian citizenship now. His mom is Ghanaian, has Ghanaian ancestry at least. And so he's a US Ghanaian citizen at this point, from what my little bit of research told me. Um, so Nikita mentions that he went to Dominican Republic and someone was racist to him. I think you were telling me about this, like someone drew a picture of him as an ape or something like that, a caricature.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? So people trifling.
That's crazy.
People are trifling. People are trifling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just goes to show how much the internet brings people together.
Mm-hmm.
And there's your positive things like cultural exchanges and long life friendships
Yeah.
and becoming acquainted with a different value system, music, food.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, the other side of it is, yeah, you're going to end up confronting like people's idiosyncrasies. I like saying that word a lot because I really think it's the best way to kind of explain that these cultural exchanges are not just always going to be pleasant. There's
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be a reflection of people's socialization, especially like the influence of colonization. And so it's not surprising to me that he probably did have that situation in DR. And it can happen anywhere in the Caribbean and Latin America in reality, just like it can happen anywhere in Chicago and Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
Miami. I mean, those are the realities. But I think that's also good to see that there are still things in societies that still have to be overcome.
That's true. That's true. And I think he's doing an incredible thing by going to all these different places and shine a light on them. Um and like, allowing himself to experience places that he's never experienced before, right?
Right,
So
right.
I think that's really incredible. Um so let's jump into some moments, right? Of this. So he lands at what, Emancipation Park, sees the redemption um songs statues, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um Yandy, Yandy was so funny. She's like, if you're gonna really be like the statues, you have to take no, don't take your clothes off. Don't take your clothes off. And that was funny. But it like, it's so interesting because music was just kept coming up in this stream. A monument, some artistic work that is named after a certain song by a superstar like Bob Marley is being one of the first things that come up. Um, and then after he walks through the corridor and sees the different busts of the various national heroes and heroine, he comes upon some Kumina, which a lot of people don't know about Kumina. Um, but I think it was great to see that representation on the stream. And now, millions of people have now seen Kumina, the example of Kumina. And I was just cracking up because this man went up on stage, started dancing with them like he knew the choreography. I was like, sir, how you managed to do all of that? Eh? How you managed to just go in coordinated with them just out of nowhere like that. So I was enjoying that part. And it's really cool to think about Kumina as a practice in Jamaica. As Yandy was saying, it's something that is done at various points in Jamaican culture, be it weddings, I think she said weddings, uh, maybe funerals also, but I think it's really, really beautiful. Um, I I think I talked a tiny bit about Kumina in my dissertation because I had to talk about buru drumming. And
Mm,
so the drumming and chanting styles of Kumina are foundational to Nyabingi drumming, and Nyabingi drumming is like almost basically the same as buru drumming. So I thought that was, that comes up that found that interesting right there. Um I also like how often in this stream he was drumming, like they were teaching him how to drum and how to do
hmm
different percussive elements in the bands that he was introduced to. And I'm thinking first of the Kumina drummers that he went up to. Um and then of course like the fact that his hosts and hostesses were often musical artists, right? Like Jesse Royal, like Shensia, Sean Paul, Beenie Man, like you couldn't escape it. And at one point, when he was driving through the city, he said, he feels that Jamaican music, dancehall, and reggae, um, were like it was like one of the best genres in the world. And so when he thought of that, I thought immediately of one of my sources that I referred to for my project. I don't know if it made the final cut into the dissertation, but it talks about how reggae is like the number 10 genre in the world when you break down
mm.
the numbers of music.
Not reggae and dancehall, just reggae
That's
or
reggae.
reggae and dancehall. Okay.
The thing that I was looking at was mostly zeroing in on reggae.
hmm
But I mean, I can always check.
I,
Nikkita says,
I'm just curious because you know how dancehall I think has been removed from like the Billboard um for Grammy consideration and all of that as a category. And I may not be saying that exactly precise, but that's what I kind of wanted to kind of get an idea because you have a group of people outside of Jamaica that are big on reggae, and then you have people outside of Jamaica who are big on dance hall,
mm-hmm,
and I would say there's more. Caribbean people into dance hall than your non-Caribbean people outside of Jamaica into
Mhm.
dance. I mean, they're more into reggae, right? Like live band music, that sort of vibe, right? Not reggae like where people are singing on rhythm tracks, which is something that all artists do, whether they're reggae or dancehall, right?
Mhm.
So that's why I'm kind of curious. So,
Makes sense. I just want to also highlight that Nikkita contributed earlier when I was talking about um Speed jumping in and doing the drumming and everything. She
mhm.
said I really appreciated his willingness to jump right in and represent himself authentically. And I do think that's important to highlight as well. Um I'm curious about this question about reggae and where reggae versus dancehall. Let me see if I can find. Hmm.
Well, the reggae versus dancehall thing is something recent, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
something recent because all your all your dancehall artists from like up to even like maybe your early 2000s, they were still on reggae rhythms, right? It weren't
Yeah.
just on dancehall rhythms. Like that's what they were called. They weren't called dancehall rhythms until much later. But I think that this one versus the other is so generational,
Mm-hmm.
right? When part of it is generational. But then I also think it has a lot to do with the fact that most people who are not Jamaican or from a Caribbean background don't really know what dance hall is, right?
Right.
In terms of like its modern sense of it, right? As a I guess you would say reggae is the umbrella, and then you have dance hall, you have your roots, your rockers, your lovers
So,
rock. Um, you can't say rocksteady is under reggae because rocksteady precedes reggae
yeah.
or ska, right? Those
Mhm.
precede reggae, but you definitely have these offshoots, right? That vary depending on even what part of the world you're in, right?
Mhm.
Because reggae in Europe is very different. Reggae in the UK is very different, even from Europe.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have your Polynesian reggae, like your Hawaiian reggae. So it all kind of has its own fusion vibe to it,
Hmm.
but it still all comes from the essence of reggae being a liberation music,
Yeah. Absolutely.
right? Right.
I agree. And for me, when it came to like Speed going through Jamaica and experiencing the music. I love that moment where he's like on the top of the car and he passed another van or truck or something like that that was playing Give me a hit and run. Hit
Mm-hmm.
and run. And he's like, he just starts singing along with it. He's like, who is playing that? Okay. Or like when he was walking down the street, I think he was in downtown Kingston at that point. He's like, who's playing this music? And like he busts up on like a record shop and goes into the record shop and like talks to them for a while. Um, Passes on the soup that they try to offer him. And uh that whole idea of just like the city being so alive with music was really impactful for me. And I also to bring it back to that question of like dance hall and reggae, he named dance hall first. Um
Right.
and
Makes
so
sense.
so it was interesting to me um that he that's his entryway for his generation. He's 21. So he's thinking of dance hall, but if you look at when he got the keys to the bimmer, he got the keys to the bimmer, and then Beenie Man comes up and he's like, "You have my keys? You have the keys to my bimmer?" And he's like, doesn't recognize him at all.
Right,
And
right.
he's just like,
Exactly.
yeah, I
Exactly.
guess so.
Exactly.
And then it wasn't until he was in the car figuring out, like, oh, this is Beenie Man. And like, oh, you do Rum and Red Bull? What? That's my favorite song. Let's get it on. Um let's get it on. I think he wasn't doing CarPlay, Apple R CarPlay. And then they play after they did Rum and Red Bull, they played Zim Zimmer, who got
Who
the
got
keys
the
to my
keys?
bimmer? And he's like, "Oh, I get it now. I get it. Y'all gotta understand. I'm young, all right. I'm young. I didn't, I didn't put it together until just now." Um,
It's not surprising because when I got into Jamaican music, I came into it late 80s. I was in high school. I was in the 10th grade, so I was about 15 years old. So what was popular at the time was literally Shaba, right? Shaba Ranks, Buju, Bounty, Beanie. They weren't household dance hall names yet. They were right around the corner, but they weren't, but not yet. Even like
mhm.
reggaeton didn't exist. It was just reggae español,
Excuse
and
me.
it was still coming from Panama, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
something that got associated with Puerto Rico or Puerto Ricans or Puerto Rican artists. Even dembow wasn't something that existed, right? These are
Mhm.
all things that came so much later, especially closer to the 2000s, early 2000s. And so I had to do the same. I had to backtrack, right? I had to backtrack in terms of like, oh wow, I got to listen to Bob Marley. I have to listen to Jacob Miller. But these things came for me in time because even like the current mixtapes were all dance hall, right? It was all when Tony Rebel was more of a DJ than a singer. Um, Clement Irie, Papa San, Lieutenant Stitchy. So these are your first true foundation dancehall artists. Shinehead, right? And Shinehead doesn't start out as a dancehall artist because he's a singer. But my point is that when I came into it, dancehall was coming into its own, right?
Right.
And it was still not considered something separate. It was it was still like the party vibe of reggae because you have an early warm everywhere you go, right? Whether it's a sound playing reggae or a DJ at a club, the early warm is always more reggae, right? Maybe older foundation songs by Bob Marley, Gregory Isaacs,
Hmm.
but um, it wasn't separate as it was more, like you're building the vibe, and by the time 12 o'clock, it's broke up time, and
Right.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a different vibe, but I never saw it as separate.
Hmm.
Now, did you have roots dances and did you have separate events for that? I'm sure, and they continue to have that scene, whether it's a UK root scene or a European root scene. Even like in Mexico, right? Like when you go to Mexico City, you have a dance hall scene, and then you literally have like a whole other club that's so roots oriented and more also European UK digi vibe,
Yeah.
right? Um, like Channel One will come in and as guest selectors and sounds throughout South America, not just in Mexico. So again, it's not a homogenous genre. It's multi-generational. It's also multi-ethnic, multicultural, multinational because again, like your you got reggae bands out of Mexico, you have reggae bands out of South America. Brazil is its own world. Um, Dance hall thrives in Panama and in Costa Rica because of the big Jamaican influence over generations, right?
Mm-hmm.
After the Panama Canal was a lot of Jamaicans worked at the Panama Canal, and then over
Yeah.
time, generations, second, third, fourth generations are still connected musically to Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
especially because they're more English speakers, patois speakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good to understand that everyone's coming into reggae music is going to be different depending on your taste. It's also your background. Are you into the party vibe, or are you into the spiritual that roots reggae vibe, right? Like that liberation. It just kind of really depends how you were brought in, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just want to welcome Nikkita to the screen part. You were with us from the beginning, but just big up yourself. Go ahead and unmute and share any little thing that comes to your mind.
Um, I really appreciate, I want to say, the organizers. So whoever is behind the scenes, making sure that he got a history, and then whoever was streaming got a history of Jamaica from the beginning. I thought that was really important. So Yendi, the former Miss Universe, and Jesse being his tour guides. I think they did a pretty good job given the time. It seems like the time constraints they had.
Right.
Um, and um, just from the beginning, him wanting to learn how to dance, the different dance moves. When I've seen his other streams, he jumps right in when it comes to any type of performance. Um, Even later on in the stream, when he was with Beanie, he freestyled in the car. When he
Oh,
was with Beanie,
Yeah, that's true.
um, he was freestyling, and I thought, what a way to just jump right in on a reggae beat, and spit some bars, and then he did it again at the end. When he was at I think it was like a culminating party concert going on.
okay.
It seemed like a bashment really, but and he freestyled then like a whole, it seemed like 2 minutes, 3 minutes of a freestyle.
Mhm.
And I really appreciated that. I thought it was pretty cool that his dad was there to be with him, and
Like that too.
during the stream you can see his dad just glowing with pride. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I don't really, during when we were in lockdown in the beginning of the pandemic, I would watch people lives and stuff, but this idea of watching somebody stream their life for a whole day or whatever, is very new to me.
Hmm.
He had 53 million people watching. It never moved past 53 million. Um, and so I just found, I'm like 53 million people got to see Jamaica through this young man's eyes and experience. I was getting a little frustrated with him when the Wi-Fi wasn't, when they said it was lagging, so his chat will tell him it was lagging, but I didn't see the lagging. So anyway,
Right.
with the and the last thing I'll say for now is when him and Spider-Man, two things. But when him and Spider-Man was
Oh yeah.
battling,
Yeah, that was funny. That was
I
funny.
I was like, Spider-Man definitely won, but they was definitely bigging up IShowSpeed with his moves. Um, and then there was this moment where there was some dogs behind a wall, and he wanted them to open the door, and he's like I know how to deal with dogs. I know how to deal with dogs. And I'm like, they trying to explain to you these are different type of dogs.
Right, right,
Right,
These
right.
are not your cuddly dogs that want belly rubs.
right,
But they wasn't explaining that. They just kept saying these are Jamaican dogs, and he's like, they're dogs, right? And
Right,
so
right,
mhm,
I was like, boy, why are you trying to antagonize the dogs? Oh no! But he didn't know, right? And
right.
so, and the truly last thing I'll say is there was the moment he went to the construction company where they were cutting and making beds and cabinets and stuff. And the one of the women that was working there was trying to make sure that he didn't cut off his finger, and he kept, you know, being like, I'm fine," and she's like, watch your finger." So I just he I think showed a different side, or a side of Jamaica that many of us are familiar with, but many people are unaware of. And through his experience, through his eyes, especially given his fame. But yeah, that's some things I'll say.
thank you. Thank you for that. I mean, definitely it was pretty hilarious when he buck up on Jamaican Spider-Man. And I mean, I just became aware of Jamaican Spider-Man not too long ago, maybe a month or so ago when he was featured. I think it was on TVJ, and they were like, "Ooh, will you reveal yourself to us and show us who you are?" And he took off his mask and everything like that. And he's like, "Here I am." And so I thought it was cool that he took off his mask also when he was battling IShowSpeed. Um, and I definitely, it's I was like, oh no, he flipped on top of the cameraman. And I was just like, oh God. But he came back, he redid the flip and he landed it, all of that. And then so both of them had their like little stumbles. Like I can't flip at all, so I can't say nothing about that. But in terms of you know, I can't really like come at them for fumbling because
Right,
I
right.
can't flip, but I liked how both of them just, brushed it off and just got back up and tried again. Um, Another moment that stands out to me is when they went to the Selassie school and Jesse
Mm,
was explaining like, hey, Haile Selassie gave this land to us and we built a school and that the government doesn't really get
Yeah.
do anything for that school. So the various artists have to do stuff for the school. And then Sean Paul's like, yeah, man, we just donated this set of instruments. Like it's the first music program that the school is gonna have, and we donated it and everything like that. And so that was cool to see, and it just seemed like so much energy. Like
Yeah.
everywhere he went, it was just like I mean, I don't know, I really do have to check out some of his other streams because I was just so impressed by how much energy people were putting out about him and just how famous he is.
mm,
Because I'm like, that's an uncanny level of fame. Like, not a lot of people can, yield that much attention. And it's almost like, can he ever have a regular vacation anywhere? Because
No.
he's
Yeah.
surrounded by all these people. He's so recognizable by all these youth, and the youth element is a big one for me. I think just how many grown people are like, oh, my son, my grandson, or my
Yeah.
daughter, my granddaughter loves you. Like, can I get a
Yeah.
picture for them? And like all of that and all, I remember like a young girl came in and was like, I can't remember what she said to him, but she was just like talking in her little small voice to Speed, and she was just like so excited to meet him and everything. And I was like, wow, like look at the impression that he puts on the youth. Like they're
mm.
so zoned into him and like they want to know, they want to grab his hand. One of them tried to steal his mic, he said, and one of them tried to steal a bracelet. And it's just that excitement. And then at one point they were throwing things at the car. at the truck, like of them on top. He's like, oh, no, they're just throwing things, like, because it was like the first couple of things made sense, like, oh, they wanted him to have something. But he's like, what is this? Like, I think someone threw like a tie up there and he touched it and threw it back. And then they were like fighting over the tie because, they wanted the tie that Speed touched. And then the series of things were thrown. And I know when he was in Beanie's Bima, he was like, a young man was like, I mean, throw the money into the car. Like, and I was like, okay. Oh, and finally, before I be quiet for a little bit more, um, language was so cool to me because he would just straight up be honest when he didn't understand the patois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting when I think it was Popcorn was like, "Oh, we're
Yeah.
not gonna
We're not
pretty up
gonna
our
pretty up
language.
on yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna pretty up our language for you." But also his policing of his excitement was annoying. I'm like, leave the man alone. If he want to stick his tongue out, he can do that. Why are you trying to say bun the man for sticking his tongue out? That's just an excitement. Like why everything got to be policed? I just don't
Yeah.
understand it.
He kept saying, do the right thing, do the right thing. And I was sitting there like, it's very interesting how we can talk about making sure that we honor our native tongue while also policing, right? It's just this, especially in the backdrop of somebody in parliament saying you can't use patois in parliament anymore, or something like that in Jamaica. But um
Mm.
that, learning about that thing that's happening in I believe Parliament, and um, Popcorn saying what he said, but then policing this young man who, really quick, I wanted to say is he's, a darker skinned, shorter guy who wears his hair natural. And I just find that is something that means something, right? To people, in terms of what he represents. He also doesn't drink and he doesn't smoke.
Mm.
Um, People would offer him drinks and stuff and he'll turn them down. And there was one point that they were offering for him to smoke and he turned it down. And so just also the role model type of position he seems to take,
Mm.
I think might have played into why he even got to go to the Bob Marley Museum and why they welcomed him the way they did at the Bob Marley Museum. Or even um, when they did the last part of the video, they did a light show for him. And I just don't think people are going to go out their way for someone unless, especially in my opinion, in Jamaica, where there's this conservative backdrop that exists to a
Mhm.
certain extent and this respectability that exists, while also this young man is literally causing people to go out in the street and run down the street, right? And
Yes.
so I just also thought that juxtaposition was very interesting. Yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely. What are your thoughts, DJ Papalotl?
I agree with Nikkita in terms of bigging up the organizers. It'd be interesting to know if it was the idea of the organizers on the Jamaican side or was it on the side of his team,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it really had a nice balance of what Jamaica is that's outside of the tourist industry, right?
Yeah.
Like it was nice that it wasn't about going to the beach and snorkeling and scuba diving. Like that's great. Like that would have been great. Like to do all that, but that's not anything special. Like everybody does that in Hawaii or wherever, right? Um, but I think that him partaking with the drumming and coming together with Spider-Man. I mean, think about it. You got two internet sensations, one global, one national, and even beyond Jamaica, because now, now he's beyond Jamaica, right? Popular. And that's nice. That's something like we didn't see 20 years ago, right? Unless it was something like celebrity, like when Jay-Z and Beyonce did that motorcycle, what is it, like that tour, the ROTR, I think, was it On the Run?
On the Run, yeah.
Yeah, okay. See, like that's so publicity, and and that's what I liked about this visit, is that it touched, like he interacted with the athletes, with the musicians. So it's like you're highlighting things that are influential within Jamaica and outside of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're also showing cultural sides of Jamaica that very few people are exposed to, especially tourists, right? Like that's not, unless they are some kind of nerds and scholars like us, then then they're not going to even know that things like that exist, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I liked that. You don't have to be in a study abroad program, and I'm not putting it down, but what I'm saying is you don't have to be in college to be exposed to a cultural experience. You can vicariously get all that through IShowSpeed's eyes, because it is having like this innocent, it's reaction, right? I mean, I don't know if I'm explaining myself clearly, but these are all first time experiences for him.
Yeah.
And so his reactions, his emotions, his expression, they're very genuine and they're very relatable. They're relatable on the US side for all his followers, and they're obviously relatable to everyone who follows him outside of the US, because they can't just all be from the US. And so I like that, because he's showing something that isn't just your typical, this is what you can do as a tourist. Like this is you're touching on different cultural veins of a society. And then once again, it just keeps showing just how powerful and influential Jamaica is, right? The sports, the music, the African influence of all those drumming traditions of Kumina. Also just showing, I remember, the interaction and just showing that people are not homogenous, right? Jamaicans are not homogenous. Black people are not homogenous. People are not homogenous. Like there's going to be different interactions and things like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And one last thing, there's this interesting historical thing between Jamaica and the US, where artists or famous people have come to Jamaica and are very, very inspirational. Like, for example, Frankie Paul, right? Who is a dancehall reggae artist from the 80s and passed away, I want to say sometime maybe about 10, 11 years ago. Okay. So Frankie Paul was blind. And for those that don't know, Frankie Paul was blind. And he was in a school for blind children in Jamaica, right? As a youth. And Stevie Wonder visits his school when he's a kid, right? When he's young. And now you have Frankie Paul become like a big artist, right? To the point where he actually did songs with Supercat and Heavy D in the late 80s, early 90s, right? When you think of like Sean Paul was a child in school, and there was a big article about Sean Paul that was all about like, who is your inspiration, right? And he tells this whole story about how Shinehead came to visit his school, and that he approaches Shinehead like, hey, do you think that I could be an artist like
Are
you?
you
Because
serious?
yes, there's like an article that was about Sean Paul, but then the whole thing ends up covering about who Shinehead is. But my point is
Wow.
that for Sean Paul, here's this young boy who acknowledges that reggae and dancehall is the music of the working class, right? Of your downtown people. And he's not a downtown Kingstonian, right? He's an uptown Kingstonian. And he basically asks him, like, do you think I can do this? And Shinehead is like, of course, yes, And it's really interesting because on the first Jamrock cruise, Sean Paul literally walks up to the bar, buys Shinehead a shot of tequila, and walks up to him and gives it to him while Shinehead and I are setting up our record boxes and are to play on the cruise, on the very first Jamrock cruise in 2014. So just and there's much more examples, but what I mean is like there's this interesting exchange between the US celebrities, famous people that go to Jamaica and have this effect on the general Jamaican society. But then it's like Jamaicans have this effect on the celebrities too, right? Like some people will say this is the best place to come to, like uh, even Carlos, who does the show on Mondays, right?
Right
Before this
before.
podcast. He
Sounds
just went
about
to
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Big up Carlos.
Yeah, but he just came from Jamaica. They had the reggae road trip. And that was very much all revolving around the reggae Rasta culture, right? Like visiting the Bob Marley Museum and visiting places that Selassie visited when he came to Jamaica because of the anniversary was also taking place around the time. So his travel group was all about retracing all those historical Rasta steps, right?
Yeah.
Not going to the beach, right? Not going to Witty Witty Wednesdays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I mean is like, there's different people going to Jamaica like it's a pilgrimage of some sort.
Right.
Like it's a place that if you don't go, you're gonna miss something that a lot of people talk about, but you won't know it until you truly experience it. And I think that was Speed's reaction. And it's nice to see that it wasn't someone who was a music fan or a Rasta person or someone who's just being a tourist. It's someone who's really like coming with this notion of I want to experience the culture and all of its different aspects of the culture, even if it was a few hours, it's still more than what your typical sandals
Yeah.
hedonism member will ever do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And we can't forget about the food and the fact I don't know if he was telling the truth. But talking about he ate 10 patties and why they kept giving him the
I mean, he
patties.
really ate so many patties because they gave
Yeah.
him three, and then
Yeah.
he tried one with cocoa bread, and
Yeah.
then he tried another one with cocoa bread,
Yeah.
and then he tried a chicken sandwich. He ate at least
Yeah.
five, at least five. But then,
Yeah.
of course, with the whole, oh, how they gonna take me to track right afterwards? He was real tight about that.
Yeah. I was like, if somebody don't pass this young man a ginger beer or something, some ginger tea or something so he could belch
but
and make some room.
Shensia cooks for him
Yeah.
also, right?
Yep. Yep.
And she was like macking hard too. Like it was so funny to watch that. It was so cute. Like I don't know if she was doing it to because she has a certain sense of humor that I totally love her sense of humor. I don't know if it was like she's really macking on him or she's just doing it as joke, but the fact that she's like cooking for him and she's showing him all these things and he's like into the experience, like he just like he wasn't even like wasn't about her, like he wasn't like you know, Shenji's a beautiful woman and he's a young man and she's a young woman. And like he like wasn't even like caught up like that. He was just more like all into the food and what she's like having him taste. And I thought that was
Yeah.
hilarious
He was,
because
yeah, yeah. He was when he was with the group of women dancing.
mm-hmm.
Similar to what you're saying with Shensia, he was focused on, okay, let me get these moves down.
Right. It's the experience, right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, we could go on all day, but I want to be mindful of our time. Um, I will say let's all give our last tidbit that we took from this live stream, and then we can bid our listeners farewell until next time. Just a reminder, or at least an announcement, I should say. Jahmi Roc's Jottings will be taking a teeny tiny break because Jahmi Roc will be going to Jamaica for a conference, a professional and academic conference. Caribbean Studies Association is having their 50th anniversary conference in Kingston, Jamaica. And Jahmi Roc, woohoo, is presenting. Very excited about that. I'm talking about Queen Africa and the limits of liberation in Black women's reggae. So very excited to do some work there. It comes out of chapter 3 of my dissertation, so I'm really happy about that. But don't you fret. We're gonna skip Memorial Day because I want you to tune into Kingston 12, hi-fi.com on Memorial Day because they will be live streaming from an event, a day event that day. So make sure you do that. And then the following Monday, there's going to be a replay of our last episode when we're talking about the Beenie Man Bounty Killer versus. And then that next Monday, there's going to be a replay of this episode that you just heard. And then we will be back coming at you that following Monday in June, mid-June. So keep that in mind. For those of you who listen on Spotify, Castbox, and Amazon Music, that means you will not be getting another episode until a month from now. So try not to miss us too much. Go back and listen to some episodes you have not listened to already. All right, so I think that my last piece that I want to talk about probably would be hmm. Okay, so when his dad and him were on the car and they were talking about like, oh, so what's your favorite Jamaican song? And I think it definitely was a Bob Marley song. It wasn't One Love. He went into One Love after jamming. He was singing jamming. And he's like, jamming? And he's like making up the words for the parts that he doesn't understand. And I thought that was so cute. But it's so heartwarming to see how big of an impact Bob Marley had on other people, right?
and still has,
Still, absolutely still has.
right?
Absolutely. To this day, to this very day. Um, and I think that's a nice full circle moment also when he went to the Bob Marley Museum. I will tell you, I did not get to fully watch that part. I just saw that they were going through the Tough Gong studio and all that. Great stuff. Big up to my distributors. And I feel like it's been it's been really beautiful just to see how Jamaican culture is represented for other people to see. And I think the Marley family does a good job of like lifting up Jamaica. And finally, I'll say it was interesting to have I think it was the Minister of Culture was
Mm,
there. And for Jessie to call her auntie, I was like, that's so cute.
mm.
That closeness, right, in the
Yeah,
creative
that's true.
cultural community. That was beautiful. So that's mine. How you feeling? Either of you can take it away.
I don't know if I have anything more to add because I think for me, it's more like just that acknowledgement that for a lot of us who are into reggae or Rasta spirituality or just certain things that are very particular to the Caribbean or to Jamaica. Having this experience and connection with Jamaica can be very enlightening, especially interacting with the people. And again, I just can't stress that enough. And I think that Speed's experience is very typical of a lot of us who have had those experiences of interacting with all your different uh, levels of Jamaican society. And it's nice to see that, and hopefully more and more young people will pay attention to this, because he's becoming a cultural ambassador uh, without even realizing it. And given our crazy politics that we're all enduring here in the US, it's nice to see that there are still things out of the box that are still captivating the general American public. Like,
Hmm.
it's amazing. And the fact, again, that it's a small island, the Jam Rock just never disappoints.
That's right.
Yeah. I echo what you both said, and I want to build on what you said, Papalotl, about just the backdrop that we're existing in, and the ways in which I would argue that what he is doing, even if I'm older in terms of how I understand it all, but there's a community being built in a particular way.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, to resist any of these systems of oppression, community is one of those antidotes that
Yeah.
addresses those things. And so, whatever it is he's doing, be it the communities that we don't know he's a part of to the community he's creating, um, he is doing something globally that is addressing so much propaganda and undoing any misinformation or disinformation about many of the countries he's gone to. And um, the one thing I had wished he might have engaged more with one of Bob Marley's family members. She was giving him the tour. I just um, think it would have been a little important to address the ways in which she was bringing up that the people are still recovering from the hurricane, people are still
Mm.
homeless, people are still trying to survive after the hurricane. And so that's my only wish, is there was a little more acknowledgement and attention to that. At the same time, I think what he's doing is important to the narrative we're writing as we are resisting and creating a new world at the same time. So that's what I'll say.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Big up. I thank you both, my co-hosts. Nikkita Nuclear Blackness and DJ Papalotl. Appreciate you both. Appreciate you. Yeah. Hearts, hearts, hearts. I like this. It brings up the hearts if you hold it long enough. Yes.
Does it? Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun,
Um,
dun.
sometimes it'd be tripping when you're on your phone, but on the laptop, it will create a little heart, and like if you hold it long enough, it'll fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up, and the hearts will come out.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, but sometimes it'd be tripping on the phone. Yes. All right, beautiful people. Until next time, this has been Jahmi Roc's Jottings. Keep your mind rocking, your thoughts swaying, and as always, keep jamming.